So I want to share some insights from my tour and what I'm doing there right now. But first, let's have a look at where we are. So next slide is talking about what is going on. And 2 years ago, we saw like big announcements. The fact that you see on the left-hand side, this is this number here, in 2023, 50 billion. That is the contracts that Northvolt had secured, which allowed them to scale their business. 2 years later, we see a huge decline down to the insolvency, and also other companies have their problems at the moment on scaling their gigafactories. So I set up for a mission to understand why are Asian players just pushing through with their 5-year plans, but companies in the EU and the EU itself are kind of running in circles at the moment and not having the feeling to really make huge progress. And we are on the mission to fulfill the requirements that we see in the battery passport, and I will pass those slides later on. And the question is if even we European players will meet those requirements. So as I said, I wanted to find out, and because I was not certain if I think we have the competences, but the question is, how do we push through this innovation pipeline? So there are, besides the technology part, 2 other players involved, and that is the finance industry as well as the government. And so I'm talking to 3 people on this tour. That is industry, finance, as well as politics. And I want to share some impressions of my tour with the following slides, and this is the video that gives you an impression. So I've traveled over 9,000 kilometers, almost reaching 10,000 kilometers right now, visited manufacturers, machine suppliers, quality inspection suppliers, charging infrastructure innovators, etc., to really make up my mind of if those PowerPoints that we see at conferences are just talking or if they are really delivering value. And what I have seen so far is that we do have the competence. I see it, but there's one big issue, and that is that we need to connect. And that is also the reason why I decided to continue my journey, visiting more people. This is just the picture of today from Custom Cells, just some impressions here. And to circle back, this is the reason why I also started collaborating with TraWeBa, because this networking aspect really needs to be brought to the next level in order to build the European battery ecosystem. So yeah, if you have questions about this, I just gave some impressions. Of course, this is way too short to give you the whole extent of it. But then yeah, please state your questions in the following. So really short pitch, and I think I met the 4 minutes.
Yes, you did, even with 40 seconds to spare.
Okay, so we can keep that for some remaining words. Yeah, so some findings, what I think, how we can break this innovation barrier that is lying over us right now. I think we need to talk about regulations. We need to build trust, to talk to investors, very importantly, to focus more on the technological part of the process itself, because battery manufacturing is really complex and we need really shop floor expertise. And I think that is to some extent still missing. Today I saw a lot of expertise, and this gives me hope. So yeah, I'm saying that I'm open to questions, and yeah, let's collaborate together to bring this industry to life.
Perfect, thank you very much. Is there already a question from the audience? Maybe Simon, let me ask you one question. You traveled already to quite a handful of companies. What is your impression? Because I get really mixed feedback. Sometimes, even if you're attending conferences, there's companies claim that we have a good chance that we can compete with the Asian companies, and other days the prognosis is really bad, that we will not manage that we will never be able to set up a battery production in Europe. What is maybe just I know it's a really big question. You can talk hours on this, but maybe really quickly, what's your idea?
The simple answer to this is we are really good at making batteries, but not on scale. So this is the key takeaway. We know how to manufacture batteries, but scaling this to the gigafactory level is not something we have encountered yet. And this is what we really have to work on and to prepare for.
May I please ask a question? This is Christoph from
Hi, Christoph.
It's a really important question. We have what you're highlighting right now, the gigafactory and the volumes aspect. As we all know, there is the Pareto, which is the 20-80 rule, which means that for gigafactories, you need 20% of the applications will cover 80% of the volumes. And the 80%, we are not in this situation yet in Europe. We don't have that type of volume. So why are we building gigafactories? We should be building organically. We should be building the 80%. We should be building the 80% infrastructure to be able to actually scale up all of what you are saying, the research and development and the things that we have in the pipeline are really interesting. And what we are failing is the scale up capabilities. And what we need is to have flexibility in the application field. A gigafactory blocks you on a form factor for 10 years.
That's true.
And we don't need that. What we need is...
I would disagree with that. I think let me address your question, because of course, if you look at the current market demand, we don't see the big demand. We have overcapacities in China, like those lines are running on 50% at the moment. And yes, this allows them, and this is also politically incentivized, to push their battery cells with a dumping price on the European market. We are at $50 per kilowatt hour at the moment, or even below. And this is not allowing a buildup of battery capacities sustainably here at the moment, or at least challenging it really, really significantly. But your question was that we don't need that capacity. I would disagree. We need that capacity, and we get it at the moment from Asia. So if we look ahead,
I think we need to review the gigafactory model. I don't believe that we need to have the coating operation together with the packaging operation in mega scale, in giga scale. I think we need to have the coating operations which are separated from the packaging operations. It makes no sense to have the initial plan that you showed was roughly 60 to 70 gigafactory projects, which meant that you had 60 to 70 times coating operations. That we don't have that capacity in Europe. We have coaters everywhere, and we have mixing capabilities, but we never had this capability to build up 60 of those capabilities, and we don't have that in Germany. The people that can operate things are people that taught me. I'm 65 years old. That taught me the business, the coating business, and they helped the Chinese to build up their capabilities. What we need, really, think about it. A gigafactory is coating up a lot of different capabilities and competencies aligned, which really pay off only if they have a very large scale, and which is paid by the farmer.
I'm sorry, and that is for every speaker, when my hand goes up, that means that we're running out of time. And